Welcome to Risefuel, where underdogs rise, justice wins, and every story reminds you, no one stays powerless forever. If you love courtroom twists, neighborhood drama, and real feeling battles for what's right, you're in the right place. She slammed my cabin door open like she owned the place and shouted, "You're trespassing on HOA property." My coffee mug nearly slipped from my hand, but I didn't move an inch. I just looked at her and said, "This is my land, every inch of it." She waved a stack of fake-looking papers in my face and hissed, "Pack your things. You're being evicted today." I wanted to laugh, but my heart was beating fast, not from fear, but from what she didn't know. Because sitting quietly in the next room, going through a folder of documents, was the state attorney general himself. Karen had no idea she'd just barged into a meeting that could end her little reign of terror. Her eyes scanned the walls, judging the wood panels, the hunting photos, the fishing rods lined up by the window. "This dump isn't up to code anyway," she sneered, like she'd already won. She had no clue the silence behind her wasn't weakness, it was power waiting to be unleashed. Before I could answer, a calm voice came from the living room. "Is there a reason you just broke into private property without a warrant?" Karen froze. Her head turned slowly, and when she saw him standing there in a gray suit, she blinked like she'd seen a ghost. She stammered, "And who are you supposed to be?" He set down the folder on the table, every movement slow and deliberate. "The state attorney general. And I'm here as a guest." For a moment, the only sound was the creak of the floor under her heels. Then she tried to recover. Well, I'm with the HOA. This whole lake belongs to us. He can't live here without our approval." I leaned forward, steadying my voice. "Funny thing, Karen, this land isn't under any HOA. Never has been. But you already knew that, didn't you?" Her fake confidence cracked. She clutched those bogus papers tighter, her knuckles white. "Don't test me," she snapped, though her voice was shaking. The Attorney General tilted his head, almost amused. "You just trespassed into private property, issued a false eviction, and tried to enforce fake authority. Do you have any idea what kind of trouble you're in?" Karen swallowed hard but still muttered under her breath, "This isn't over." But what she didn't know was, I had been waiting for this exact moment. And the next move would shock her more than she could imagine. She spun toward the door, probably thinking she could escape before things got worse, but the sound of tires crunching gravel outside stopped her cold. A sheriff's cruiser pulled up, lights off but presence loud enough to make her stiffen. Karen whispered, You called the cops on me?" I shook my head. "Didn't have to. They've been watching this place ever since you started harassing my neighbors." The Attorney General folded his arms. "And they're not here for him. They're here for you." Karen's face drained of color. She rushed to hand me the fake notice, trying to spin her story. "This man is lying. He forged property papers, and I was just protecting the community." The sheriff walked in, unhurried, with a small camera in his hand. He pressed a button, and Karen's own voice filled the cabin, "Pack your things. You're being evicted today." Her eyes widened. "Wait, how did you?" The sheriff cut her off. "We've been recording your little HOA patrols for weeks. You've been impersonating authority, trespassing, even trying to tow cars you had no right to touch." Karen's mouth opened, but no sound came out. She looked from me, to the Attorney General, to the sheriff, and for the first time, she realized she wasn't in control anymore. And I was only getting started. Karen tried one last desperate move. She pulled out her phone and barked, "My people are on their way. You'll regret this when my lawyers arrive." But her hand trembled, and the screen lit up with dozens of unread texts. The sheriff leaned over, smirking. "Funny, those aren't from any lawyers. Those are warnings. Looks like your little HOA board already abandoned you." Her face went pale. That's not possible. They swore they'd back me up. The Attorney General stepped closer, his voice calm but sharp. No board. No authority. Just you. A single woman abusing power that never existed. He flipped through the folder he'd brought, pulling out one sheet. And according to these county records, this cabin was granted full exemption from HOA oversight 20 years ago. Your entire case is smoke. I leaned against the wall, watching her squirm. You know what the funniest part is, Karen? While you were faking notices, I was gathering witnesses. Every neighbor you bullied signed affidavits. People you threatened, fined, even tried to kick out. The sheriff set down the camera on the table, the red light still blinking. All of it's recorded. You've been caught from every angle. Karen's bravado cracked completely. She whispered, "You set me up." I smiled faintly. "No. You set yourself up. I just let the truth do the work." But she wasn't done yet, because when cornered, Karen's next move was about to push the chaos to a whole new level. Karen's hands shook as she clutched her phone, then suddenly she bolted for the door. The sheriff stepped forward to block her, but she screamed, "Get out of my way. I know people in the police department, you'll all lose your jobs." The Attorney General didn't even flinch. "Is that so? Then maybe you should explain why those same friends filed an official complaint against you last month." That stopped her mid-step. Her voice cracked. That's a lie." I walked closer, lowering my voice just enough so she had to look at me. "Karen, you've been playing queen of this lake for years. But tonight, you walked into the wrong cabin." She tried to laugh it off, but the sound came out broken. "You think you're clever, don't you? Well, I've got proof he forged those deeds." She waved the crumpled fake notice, but the Attorney General calmly held up his phone. On the screen was a live video call with the county clerk. The clerk's voice echoed through the speaker, "All records are verified. The property belongs to him, free and clear. Any claim otherwise is fabricated." Karen's lips parted, but no words came out. The sheriff finally spoke, his tone colder now. "You just lied in front of the Attorney General, forged legal documents, and threatened officers. That's not just trespassing anymore. That's a felony." The silence in the cabin grew heavy, like the walls themselves were waiting for her next mistake. And then, Karen smiled. Not the nervous kind, but the kind that said she still had one last card to play. Her smile was the kind that made the room feel colder. "You think you've cornered me?" she whispered. Then she tapped her phone, and within seconds, headlights beamed through the cabin windows. 2 black SUVs rolled up outside, engines growling. The sheriff's hand went to his belt. "Who the hell did you call?" Karen's voice grew louder, full of false pride again. "Real officers. People who actually respect me. Let's see you laugh when they drag you out of here in cuffs." The Attorney General didn't move. He just sighed, almost bored. "Interesting. Because I didn't request backup." "Did you, Sheriff?" The sheriff shook his head. "Nope. And if those were legit officers, they wouldn't be hiding their plates." Karen's confidence flickered. She hadn't noticed the missing plates. I stepped toward the window, watching the shadows move inside the SUVs. "Karen, you brought fake cops again, didn't you?" Her face twisted. "They're not fake. They work with us." Before she could finish, one SUV door swung open, and a man stepped out wearing a uniform, except the badge was wrong. Too shiny. Too new. The sheriff let out a bitter laugh. "Impersonating law enforcement? You really don't know when to stop, do you?" The Attorney General pulled out his phone and made one quiet call. "Send them in." Within moments, real state troopers appeared from the tree line, rifles raised, floodlights snapping on. The imposters froze, their fake badges glinting under the glare. Karen's smile finally collapsed. She stumbled back, whispering, "No, no, this can't be happening." But it was. And now the entire lake would know who Karen really was. Karen's voice cracked as the real troopers swarmed the cabin yard. The imposters were yanked from the SUVs, their fake badges hitting the dirt. She backed against the wall, her eyes darting everywhere like a cornered animal. The sheriff spoke firmly. "Karen, you're under arrest for conspiracy, fraud, and impersonation of law enforcement." She shook her head violently. "No. You don't get it, this is my community. Without me, this place falls apart." I stepped closer, keeping my voice steady. "This lake survived 100 years before you, Karen. And it'll survive long after." Her eyes blazed, but the Attorney General cut her off. "You've crossed every line there is: threats, lies, fake authority. And you tried to drag innocent families through your mess." He looked at the troopers. "Make sure every neighbor sees the report. The people deserve to know the truth." Karen was cuffed, still screaming. "You can't do this. I'll sue all of you. Her words choked off as she was shoved into the back of a real cruiser. Silence returned to the cabin, broken only by the sound of the engine starting outside. The Attorney General turned toward me, his tone softer now. "You handled yourself well. Most people would have broken under her pressure." I exhaled, finally letting the tension drain. I didn't fight for this land just to let someone like her take it away. But deep down, I knew this wasn't just about me. It was about every neighbor she had tried to control. And the justice wasn't finished yet. The next morning, word spread like wildfire around the lake. Neighbors who had stayed quiet for years gathered outside my cabin, some with relief in their eyes, others with tears. One elderly couple hugged me tight. "She told us we'd lose our home if we didn't pay her fake fees," the woman whispered. "We were too scared to fight back." The sheriff read the official statement aloud in front of everyone. Karen was facing multiple charges, and every one of her so-called HOA rules had been declared void. The Attorney General stood beside him, making sure the truth reached every ear. For the first time in years, people felt free. Kids ran down to the lake without being yelled at. Neighbors parked their trucks in their own driveways without fear of another bogus ticket. The chokehold Karen had on this community was gone. I stood on the porch, taking it all in. The Attorney General walked up, shaking my hand firmly. "You didn't just defend your cabin," he said. "You defended every family here." I nodded, looking out at the water, the morning sun glinting off the surface. I didn't fight for this country just to be told I couldn't live on my own land. Cheers rose from the crowd. Justice wasn't just served, it was felt. And for the first time in a long time, this lake finally belonged to the people again. Thanks for watching another RiseFuel original. If you enjoyed this story, smash that like button, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and drop your thoughts in the comments. We read every one. And remember, true power isn't in revenge, it's in rising above.